Hey YouTube, I wanted to do a review on a new knife I got. It's a Spyderco. I also wanted to do a little bit of a social commentary. This is an interesting knife that's brought up a lot of discussion in terms of outsourcing labor. Labor costs. This is so let's get to the knife, and then we'll talk about some political things that sort of surround this knife, in my opinion. This is Spyderco. You can't. Amazon.com is where I got it. They put their sticker over the label. Great. But anyway, it's a Spyderco Tenacious G10 handles folding knife. I bought this one for kind of to see what the quality of this Spyderco would be like. Now, Spyderco generally has outstanding quality, and I think this knife is also of outstanding, if not outstanding, excellent quality, and plus a very good value, which is somewhat the most debatable point about this video. Spyderco Tenacious, the price, the MSRPs are around $59, but you can get them on the street for less than $30, which is what I got this knife. It's a very, very nice knife. The overall length of the knife is 7 3/4 inches. The blade length is 3 3/8. Let's see. The length close is 4 7/16. It weighs 3 3/8 ounces. It's got a Spidey hole, 1/8 inch thick blade, and the handle is G10. It's a liner lock. It's a sharp sucker. Seems like it's typical in terms of most of its features are pretty typical of Spyderco quality. For instance, it locks up real tight. If you watch my videos before, you'll realize that lockup is a pet peeve of mine. I can't stand wiggling a blade. It makes me very unhappy. Locks up nice. It is sharp. The G10 handles have reasonable texturing on them. There's jimping. Yay. As I mentioned, it is sharp. The blade steel on this is 8CR 13 MOV. It's like you can think of it as, I guess, the Chinese version of AUS-8 steel. It's real, Spyderco sharp, what you expect from Spyderco knives. Happy about that. Overall, for a knife this amount, you sit there and you wonder, why the hell is this knife so inexpensive? Well, and if you just look at the blade here, let's see if we can get this to focus. It says right there, China. Okay, this knife is made in China under contract from a U.S. company that is based in Golden, Colorado, Spyderco. So it's so cheap. Is there anything really functionally wrong with it that makes it cheap? No, it's got G10 handles. They're nice. The liner lock's good, as I said. It's got steel liners, so this thing is rock solid. It's sharp. The blade grinding is not, beautiful in terms of there's some areas, like see this area right here, where when they either polish the blade or during the grinding process, one of the guys, the factory or girls, that's getting paid about 76 cents an hour, screwed that up. But doesn't affect the quality in the blade, and that doesn't particularly bother me, especially when I'm only paying less than $30, about $28 for this knife. So let's talk about it. Why is it so cheap? Well, it's so cheap because it's made in China, and that seems to really bother people, and it kind of bothers me in a way too. But I was wondering what contributes that, and what are the facts. And I'd really like to hear people's comments about this, because you'll hear the disparity in some of the reasons why. Well, if you look at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics websites, the U.S. government agency, they have compensation information for workers. Now, it's very hard to get updated, real-time information about that, but let's go back to 2006, and I think we can all agree things haven't changed that much. So if you look at compensation for workers. The hourly compensation, the hourly cost of a production worker in the United States in 2006 was about $23.65. Okay, that's pretty substantial. About 22% of that in 2006 was related to Social Security. So you have to pay Social Security tax, right? In China, what's that look like? Well, it turns out China is very difficult to figure out their worker compensation costs, but an hourly estimate is somewhere, in 2006, it was somewhere around 67 cents an hour. So a Chinese worker makes about 75, production workers, so these people that work in factories, etc., make about $75 a month. Okay? So, you know, part of the difference in labor costs is related to currency evaluations, and for instance, if China's currency is currently undervalued as much as 75%, that country's workers are getting squeezed by the current policies, and it affects their hourly compensation, right? All right, so you know, here we go, and you start, and I'm really interested because I'm a bit conflicted about it. You have this nice blade. This can certainly be manufactured in the United States, and many Spyderco products are, but this, in order to meet a demand for an inexpensive, high-quality knife, seemed like it had to be outsourced, or the decision at least was made to outsource it to China. Because even if you doubled the price of this blade, it would not make up for the disparity in the labor costs. Brings up an interesting issue. You know, how does that work for the U.S. economy, manufacturing economy, in the long term? I'd like to hear people's opinions on that. If you want to rant, please feel free. But my concern is when you have a disparity of that in the world, I know people have brought up, well, that's basically slave labor in China. So when you buy a Chinese product, you're supporting slave labor. Do you think that's true? It seems like it. If they're making $75 a month, or about 70 cents an hour. And American workers are making almost $24 an hour. How can we ever make a product that is going to be competitive in terms of its price? All things being equal, would you honestly pick the same exact knife? Would you pick the same exact knife that costs 5 times more, okay, about $150, simply because it said made in the U.S. or made in the USA? If you wouldn't do that, what do you think is wrong? What do you think could be fixed? No whining. I don't want to hear whining. I want to hear what people have in mind for how that problem could be dealt with. How do you fix that problem? I think it's a serious issue. I'd really like to hear people's opinions on it. I don't think everything made in China is junk, but I think even, nice, excellent products like this, they have a big advantage in terms of being able to bring it to market very inexpensively. How do we compete with that? Is that key to the long-term survival of the United States economy? Thanks for watching.